We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. A little bit of Creed there. Little Texas preview. We think they're from Texas. Allegedly, they're from Texas. And the Bills are in Texas this week, taking on the Houston Texans. The Diggs revenge game, the one we've all been waiting for the entire time. This has been on the calendar. Dom, I don't know about you. I'm pretty excited. I mean, less excited. We're going to get to that in a few moments, but a little less excited than I was half an hour ago after finding out some injury news. But first, let's talk about this whole Stefon Diggs situation. The national media, every talking head has just been all over it. In both Allen and Diggs, I don't think they think it's that big of a deal, truthfully. At least it sounds like they think that. I mean, where's your head at with the Diggs-Allen drama? I know last year throughout the betting on the Bills and throughout the regular episodes of the pod, we were like, oh, what's going on here? And then Diggs wants out of Buffalo. He gets out of Buffalo, heads to Houston. What are your thoughts coming with them meeting back up together?
Yeah, I think it's still kind of interesting that they traded him to an AFC contender that they're actually going to play on their schedule. But at the end of the day, I think it's a situation where Stefon Diggs was a fantastic receiver for the Bills for 4 seasons. But when he's getting to now starting, his age begins with a number 3, and his production dips a little bit, and he's getting paid a heavy salary cap. I understand why they moved on, right? I understand why he's not worth maybe the headache that he was giving, or they believe that they can still be a productive offense without him. Obviously, I don't think the Bills traded him. The Bills trading him was less of, I think, his production on the field, more just the headache off the field.
Yeah.
Because, listen, they got worse by trading him. Brandon Beane admitted that in his press conference back when, I think it was March they traded, maybe it was April. They admitted that it got worse, and they did. There's no other way around it. If you had Stefon Diggs still in this offense, I think it would, I don't know if you'd have as much problems as they did last week. Maybe the Ravens, maybe you still do. But at the end of the day, the Bills have bet that they can have a sustainable, solid offense without him, eat the salary cap, the dead cap for 1 year, and hope to kind of rebuild this skill position core. And Stefon Diggs got what he wanted, where he gets to be at a new face. He gets to play with an elite quarterback in C.J. Stroud, a great situation in Houston on an up-and-coming team. He got his contract pretty much removed down to 1 year, so he's going to go to free agency and kind of be able to pick his destination, after the season. So, I mean, definitely and listen, Diggs is playing good football, right? I mean, he's been very productive so far throughout the year, had a really good game last week against Jacksonville, ran a touchdown in. So he's been very productive. The Bills' offense has been pretty productive for the most part. Obviously, the hiccup last week. So far, it seems that it's been a win-win for both sides. And I don't know. What do you think? That's how I kind of look at it. I also don't really, to me, I don't fully understand all the hate. It just kind of is what it is. This is a business. Is he a diva? Sure, but I think every receiver has a little screw loose, for the most part, the top dogs. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't have any hard feelings towards Stefon Diggs. Heck, I drafted him in fantasy football in the league when he was dropping in our friends league because everyone hates him. I don't really, I mean, listen, he was a great receiver, but his time, it just naturally, I don't know, it just came to an end. And it ended, and it didn't end it perfectly cleanly, but it is what it is.
Your average high school relationship, there was the honeymoon phase, right? And then there was the we're gonna break this one off ordeal, right? So I think you look back, Kyle Brandt truly said it the best. They're meeting again on the divorce court, right? Essentially, it's not you're. He said you're 2 exes seeing each other at the party again, and it's there's no bad blood. There's no whatever. There's respect between the two depending on the situation in most cases, but there's respect between Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs. Or at least there seems to be. That's what they're portraying to the media. And I don't make too much of that drama stuff. I get it. That's what the league thrives on. That's what the media thrives on. That's what, the stories are written of, whatever. I get it, but I don't, my favorite thing to say is it's not that deep. And I really don't think that this is that deep. I think they're just football players, and Diggs is going to play for the Houston Texans the way he played for Buffalo for all those years. He's a competitor. He's going to give it his all. And Allen's going to play for the Bills like he has and will continue to do for the rest of his career, hopefully. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. I don't think it's bad blood. I don't think they hate each other. I just think
I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit.
You think?
I think there's a little bit.
You think there's a little bit of bad blood, really? See,
there can't not be. I mean, there just can't not be.
I think,
you know what I mean?
The whole thing, at the end of the day, Allen is probably the one who gave the okay to trade Diggs, right? Like, they wouldn't have done it without.
Well, they said he was blindsided, but I don't think he got. I don't know if he knew or gave the okay, but I don't think he was massively upset that they made the move. Because I also had to say, we've seen it this year, Allen becoming more of a leader, right? And I think Stefon Diggs, very solid vocal leader, like maybe his presence leaving that void of leadership, that they were talking about all offseason, like Allen has stepped up into that void. I think maybe that was also a big move for them too, is to get Allen to be a bigger leader. Is when you lose a guy like Stefon Diggs, who every time you saw him on the sidelines is very vocal and all that. Like, I think their relationship ran its course. I do believe that.
Well, there's been no communication between the two of them since he went to Houston. Like, it's
like that Tim Graham story after week 1. That's kind of a damning story, to be honest.
Yeah.
The one where Steph goes to him after the Jets game and Josh goes, "It's just effing 1 week," or something. Like, I don't know. I think I will agree that I think Stefon Diggs, he wore out his welcome slightly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that kind of is what it is of a number 1 receiver. Like, eventually, I don't know, it just kind of is what it is. But he was still a good player. I still say he was a good player. Listen, was he a top 5 receiver that he was getting paid like? No. I mean, he was still a good player even when Joe Brady took over. Like, they missed a bunch of deep shots, right? A couple of them where he was, like the Miami Dolphins one where he was wide open, right? And if they would have hit on a couple of those, and some of that's Diggs' fault because he just dropped one against Kansas City, and he also sucked in that game because he fumbled on the first play. So I can understand why people are frustrated, because he was a guy that was a very productive player, but the last 2 years he had massive production lulls at the end of the year, and he wasn't a guy, for whatever reason, that came through a lot in the postseason, right? Other than the first year. The first year, the Ravens game, the Colts game, he really came through. I think the Patriots game, he was solid. Dolphins game, okay, solid, but when they were eliminated, he did not have big games.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And he made Gabe Davis was the big 13 seconds wide receiver, right? The 4 touchdowns. I mean, you look at the Bengals game. I mean, the one where we started seeing the what are you doing? The arms up on the sideline ordeal, right? Like, you look at that one, he wasn't fantastic. The whole team wasn't. And then you look at last season, that crucial drop going towards the end zone there could have set the Bills up to maybe win the game. Instead, it leads to wide right 2.0, that drop. But, I mean, I can see the bad blood between the two of them. I think that was a little naive of me to say there isn't and just kind of believe them. But
I don't know if it's naive.
Play it off like it's not. That both of them are. Like, they're both saying a lot of love for that guy, blah, blah, blah. I think they're just trying
There's respect. There's respect, but I think the relationship definitely took its course.
Oh, they're not going to be on Sports Illustrated again on each other's backs smiling. Like, that's not happening ever again. Like, that was a one-off. But I don't think they despise each other in any way.
Sure. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I just think there's a little bit from the perspective of, there definitely is a little bit, I want to get these guys.
Yeah, but I feel like that's standard.
That's natural. I mean, that's natural. But maybe it's a little bit more than usual. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. It is interesting to think about, but I mean, what are you going to do? He's a good player. A lot of Bills memorabilia with Diggs' name on it, I still see around. I mean, I personally would never. That would have gone in a bonfire as soon as he was traded. But
Of course. I know that you're one of those fans.
I can't. Well, actually, speaking of, I do have one memorabilia hat that I got signed by Gabe Davis, AJ Epinesa, and Jordan Poyer. So what a trio that is. Only one of them still remains on the Bills. So, it can't go anywhere yet.
Wow, that was a hat. But you want to talk about the injuries before we break down the game a little long?
The preview and starting off with that, something that's taken a lot of confidence out of our sails, if you will, the wind out of our sails. Dom, roll through those injuries Coach McDermott just ripped off.
Yeah, so Khalil Shakir with his ankle is out.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Oliver with he had suffered a hamstring injury yesterday in practice. He's out. Taylor Rapp did not clear concussion protocol, and Austin Johnson has an oblique injury, and he's also out. So 4 players are out. Yeah, I mean it's pretty. We talked about in the top 5 on Tuesday about the DTs just got to perform better, and now it's like no, now they just need to get healthy because Ed's out and Austin Johnson, so you're probably your first and third best. Defensive tackles are now out, which is pretty massive. Pretty massive going into a game where I think the Texans interior has kind of struggled a little bit. And yeah, definitely a team that wants to run the ball too. That would see the looks that the Bills usually give and run the ball. So to lose 2 of those guys there's no other word to say, it's massive, and especially Ed coming home to the Houston area to play a game. I don't believe, well, I guess the playoff game that counts, but I don't believe he's played in a game in Houston other than that. So that's definitely really frustrating. And then with Shakir being out, man, like
that's your
KJ Hamler, I guess, gets the call from the practice squad, and we kind of roll. He was much maligned in the media this week, but this is officially, it's no longer the Stefon Diggs game. It's the Curtis Samuel game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think so?
It is official. Listen, I always said that I thought Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir were a little redundant. Like, they were kind of the same player to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Other than Curtis Samuel has that gadgety, more of a gadget, like, that differentiates him.
He has the possibility to be that, yeah.
But, I mean, he's kind of a natural replacement. And then you kind of have KJ Hamler come in to do some of the Curtis Samuel stuff, I feel like, with the running back stuff, because he can actually run the ball. So I'm not going to say they're going to miss a beat. That's a completely ludicrous, statement to make, because Curtis Samuel's really struggled and Khalil Shakir's been the best receiver. But yeah, I mean, a massive opportunity now for Keon Coleman, Mac Hollins, MVS, tight ends.
Yes, get a lot more involved. Truthfully, that's one player where I'm kind of like, okay, we thought you were not even going to make the team. Truthfully, and here you are.
Yeah, what a moment! I mean, this is a big spot for them, and then with Rapp being out. I don't know. We're recording literally right as McDermott was speaking. I'll look in a second. I don't think he said who's going to start opposite DeMar Hamlin. I'll look very quickly. Oh, the good thing you know what? I'm so glad I refreshed Twitter because I knew it was going to be there.
Yeah, good thing
Joe Buscaglia, Bills head coach Sean McDermott, says rookie safety Cole Bishop will start. So first career start for Cole Bishop. Who says Sean McDermott doesn't play rookies? Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so Cole Bishop and DeMar Hamlin. You know what? My confidence is completely reinstilled. I'm ecstatic.
Really?
No.
Oh my God, I got so duked there.
Yeah. No, I'm as much as I'm excited to see Cole Bishop get a full game and see what we get from him, right? Still, like, you don't have Cole Bishop again. I'm not speaking for him. I'm speaking for DeMar Hamlin. You don't have a ball hawking safety whatsoever at that point. Like, when Hamlin would come in to fill the void of either Poyer or Hyde when they were out in their different times, one of them was a ball hawking safety that had a lot of experience, right? You have DeMar Hamlin and then a rookie. So that's a little concerning for me. No matter how well Cole Bishop plays, just leading into it, I mean, it's concerning.
he definitely has more range than any safety on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be big.
Yeah.
But this is his first career start, and he's going to be playing a team that likes to attack downfield with Nico Collins, and I think they're going to get Tank Dell back. I don't know Joe Mixon. I don't think Joe Mixon's going to play, but maybe he didn't practice last days. But yeah, this is a tough order, and I'm really excited because I really want him to play well, because I think if Cole Bishop plays well, kind of Wally Pippish, they can't take him off the field. And maybe then they say, okay, Rapp and Bishop are our starters, and I think we're going to see Mike Edwards get activated. Maybe he gets some run at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that. Last note about injuries before we start breaking down the game a little further. Both, probably should have worded this in the out people, but both Bernard and Johnson are questionable. I would be really surprised if Taron Johnson played. He was in the red coat, the red coat. Jesus, what are we, the Brits?
The British are coming.
All year. He was in the red non-contact jersey pretty much all week. We haven't seen Friday practice. But McDermott did say that Bernard is a little bit ahead of Johnson. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Terrell Bernard suit up, went to Baylor, Texas area. And, I think maybe he doesn't play every single snap like he normally does, but maybe he comes in on passing downs and takes Baylor Spector's spot in that situation. So maybe they have him, some snap, like a package, for Terrell Bernard. But I would assume he plays in some limited capacity, and I would assume that we are a no-go on Taron Johnson for one more week.
Yeah, especially with the break. I like they said, it wasn't a clean break, but still, you don't want to risk that because it's not. If it's not fully healed, he's going to get whacked in it again, and that's that. So
I think the Bills also think to themselves, and like, if you lose this game, it sucks. You're 3-2, but you play on Monday Night Football in Week 6, so you have the extra day of rest. If you sit at Oliver, you're worried about the hamstring, you sit Khalil Shakir, you sit Taron Johnson for one more week, like, you're probably going to get Taylor Rapp back. Like, I think I think this is smart to kind of be a little conservative with injuries this week. I know it's a big game and all that, and you really need them, but I think it's smart that they're a little conservative because you don't want these injuries to become multi-week injuries. And if you could just say, hey, they're going to be out 1 week, they're going to come back, be ready to go on Monday night against a division rival, let's go. Like, I think that's okay, especially with how kind of the rest of the division is played. Like, that Jets game has now become kind of more important because they seem to be the only one, with the Dolphins struggles, obviously the Patriots, like, it's kind of feels like it's the Jets now and them. And the Jets have a tough game against Minnesota, and they're already 2-2. So, again, I think they're like thinking to themselves, what's a more important game, this week or the Jets game? Do we really need these players to rush back from injury and potentially re-aggravate something and miss multiple weeks? No, especially with Von already being out with his suspension. Let's play it smart. Let's play it safe. I like their approach.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the Jets game is kind of on the radar, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're a division winner, you're going to the playoffs, and with a team kind of
hosting a playoff game,
right? So in a team kind of in a retool year where, they subverted expectations in the first few weeks, but now you're getting into really the thick of the schedule. If you can, take some losses and just take them on the chin and win those divisional matchups and win your division, that's all that, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And then you can play on from there, and do that, because truthfully, like I said, your season, if you're a division winner, starts at the end of the year. So the 1 seed is not in the cards for this team. There's, in my opinion, there's no shot for that.
I think there's still an opportunity, but I agree that shot has definitely slimmed down with
Baltimore,
with them losing and the injuries, unfortunately, that they continue to sustain.
Yeah, they continue to just keep it coming on the injury train, unfortunately.
I know we're going a little long, so we'll put offense and defense together here, because I think we talked a little bit about it. with the injuries and all that. So, let's talk defense first. Screw it. Let's flip it up. You're
Okay.
playing a pretty potent Texans team that is incredibly undisciplined, is one of the leaders in penalties. Every time like you watch you're watching like the NFL, and it's like, how are the Texans in 3rd and 20? It's like, oh, because they had an illegal shift penalty and then a holding penalty. You know what I mean? Like they can't get out of their own ways. They're very undisciplined on offense, and it sets them behind the sticks. Now they have a very potent offense, and they kind of still are very efficient. Listen, they got a dog in Nico Collins, who's a legit wide receiver 1. Obviously, Diggs is playing really well. They're going to have Tank Dell back. And then the ground game, if they don't have Mixon, Cam Akers is all right. I don't think this is a great offensive line, especially on the interior, which is why it's so unfortunate that Oliver's not playing, because I really thought he could do a lot.
Yeah.
I really think you give pressure on CJ Stroud with this offensive line. And it's going to be kind of interesting. What do they do with Nico Collins? Like, I think they have to double and take him away. And as weird as it to say, like, make Stefon Diggs in this ground game beat you. Like, make kind of the complementary parts of this Texans offense. Like, make that offense run the ball, can complete short passes all night long, and wait for them to kind of, shoot themselves in the foot with a penalty, right? Like, that's kind of what the Bills need to do. And I know that's kind of weird to say because they got freaking smashed against Baltimore, but at the same time, there's no Derrick Henry, and this offensive line is not the Baltimore offensive line. And CJ Stroud's a great quarterback. He's not not a scrambling quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
No.
So, the keys for this defense is keep everything in front of you. Don't give up the big play. Figure out a way to stop Nico Collins. Make Diggs / just run game beat you. And kind of hope for them to kind of shoot themselves in the foot and then take advantage, right? Like, get in 3rd and long. It's like, hey, let's force a turnover or two, right? When CJ has to fit a ball in a tight spot, we get a pick. Like, I think that's kind of how they're going to have to win, is make the Texans beat themselves and then capitalize on their mistakes.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, truthfully, because like you said, they are prone to making mistakes. They do take penalties. And if you do limit the passing game, because CJ Stroud, like you said, on a 3rd and long, will try and fit the ball into certain situations, right? A tight spot. Make those turnovers happen. Do that and be as dominant as you can be up front, too, with the run. I know you're losing Ed Oliver and a couple others, but Daquan Jones needs to have a big week. Like, he needs to show he's back and ready to play. Like, there are other players who can step up, I think, that can actually kind of do the job and stop this Texans offense, and limit Diggs in that run game, because he's utilizing that frequently, like you said, too. So I think it's going to be interesting, but the defense, like you said, just, I guess, smack them on the butt and tell them go do the best they can, because you are down men, like you are. They're going to show the sideline shot of not Bernard, hopefully he's playing, but Milano and Taron Johnson just off to the side, and you're looking at 2 of your best players on the defense that keep you in these situations when these teams are outmatched to you on paper, right? So, you're missing those guys. You got to just do the best with what you got, and whether that's up front or, like you said, force them on to keep them trying to paper cut you. Don't let them go deep or anything like that, and see what happens. But offensively, the Bills' offense really just needs to, number one, not run the flea flicker or whatever it's called on the on like 2nd down in the middle of the field while their offense is humming, right? Just stick to the game plan. Utilize James Cook. Don't just, if the score does get out of hand for you at some point, they go up by a couple scores, don't say, okay, Josh Allen, just do whatever you can to get us back in the game like he did against Baltimore, because then that's when the crazy stuff started happening, and Allen took a lot more hits than he needed to. So that was a scary thing about that. But Allen needs to play well. Just shake off last week. Go back to the run game. Put the motion in before plays. And Curtis Samuel and Dalton Kincaid, I think, are going to be 2 big pieces of that offense, especially missing Khalil Shakir, the safety blanket that he's been the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I already alluded to. This is the Curtis Samuel game. I mean, no doubt. For me, for this offense, it's about So the Jags offensive line, which I don't think is better than the Bills offensive line, really struggled against Buffalo on Monday night. Really played well last week against Houston. Right, they ran the ball really effectively. You saw a couple of explosive runs from Tank Bigsby. They did a really good job in pass protection for the most part, which is surprising because the Houston has on paper one of the best edge rushing duos in Willie Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter. So you're going to need a big game from Dion, who's on that little slightly bum hammy, and a little bit of a bounce back game from Spencer Brown, who had his first blimp of the year against Kyle Van Noy in Baltimore. Like, if those two guys play their best games of the year and shut those two edge rushers down, I don't think these DTs are game-blanking, game-changing defensive tackles. And if those two guys, Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, play well, give Josh time, I think he can exploit this back seven, because I don't think this back seven is great. Like, Stingley's a nice player. I think the linebackers are kind of whatever. And you saw last week, Christian Kirk in the slot had a big game, right? He had a big game, and so did Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside. And Trevor missed a couple of throws that he was wide open deep. And I feel like this Texans team, you saw at week 1, gave up a couple big plays to Anthony Richardson, on that 60-yard heave. You gave up a couple of big plays to Minnesota. I think this Texans team is really you can get a lot of explosive plays. I think this is the game where we see a lot of explosive plays through the air and maybe a couple on the ground with James Cook. So I think this is a Curtis Samuel game, and I think MVS finally catches a bomb this game. I think him and Josh finally connect on a bomb. So going to kind of the X factors, I already talked up Curtis Samuel enough. Where I feel like my X factor of the game is going to be Dwayne Carter.
Okay.
Because another rookie, right? I mean, you have Bishop now starting. You have Keon obviously out there. Javon Solomon. Heck, we didn't even freaking talk about Javon Solomon. He's just gonna have to start playing the Von Miller role.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, they call him Von Jr. So
you have Ray Davis. This is turning out to be, maybe if these guys play well, this is turning out to be a really solid class. But DeWan Carter is my guy, because you're T4, two of the top 3 are out. You have to step up. We saw he finally flashed in garbage time. Really smacked Derrick Henry straight in the mouth on the goal line. I was like, holy crap. And then he celebrated, and no one celebrated him because they were all pissed off. I was like, yeah, that was kind of, a little cringe. That's
a celebration, though. That's like,
do what you got to do, my boy.
Yeah. I just smacked Derrick Henry in the face in my first ever game or whatever that I've really played.
First season, yeah. But yeah, I think he has to have a big game. They drafted him in the 3rd round to be kind of an impact player right away, to play big snaps in case of injury. I want to see what he's about this week. If he plays well, again, this is what I'm saying about Cole Bishop and Carter. If they play well, it just means they're going to earn more snaps. And I think that will help their defense play better, in December and playoff time. So, yeah, Dwayne Carter's my X factor. Sneaky.
I like it. No, I really do. We talked about him on Tuesday a little bit, making that flash play, and coming through a little bit. But my X factor, I'm going to on the offensive side of the ball here. I think this will be a James Cook game. I really do. I think they're going to go back to basics. I think Joe Brady, after last week, is just going to be like, okay, what do we do best? And James Cook is one of those things, whether he's pass catching or he's running. The way they scheme up these runs now, James Cook is very solid. I think he's going to have a bounce back week after lackluster performance last week just because of play calling. So they're going to get back to basics. They're going to figure it out. Allen's going to have a good day, but James Cook, I think, is going to lead this team, hopefully to victory. We'll see. But against a very good Texas team, Houston Texans team, the AFC opponent. So it's crazy. All right, MVP. Who's your MVP of this game?
My MVP for the game, I'm going to say Christian Benford. I think he has a big game. I don't think they're going to be able to shut down Nico Collins all the way. I still think he's kind of going to get his. I mean, he's that kind of type. I think he's kind of reached that kind of tier of player where it's impossible. It's like what's the saying? We know we can't shut him down, but we just hope to contain him or something like.
Yeah.
So I think Benford has a good day in coverage, and I think he's getting a lot of buzz from his performance a quarter of the way through the season. And I think he's going to have a good game tonight, a good game on Sunday. Well, at 1:00, not a primetime game. And I think he has a big game for the boys.
Okay, I like it. I think MVP. I'd have to say, I think what you're really going to see from the offense, trying to make do without not Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir. I think again, he was my MVP. I think last week pick. I think Dalton Kincaid is actually gonna. I think this is the week. Actually going to be a huge primary target for Allen. So give me Dalton Kincaid. As much as I said James Cook's going to be the X factor, Allen's still going to have to get stuff done through the air. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be a big part of that. Big bodied tight end who can get some yards after catch, bully his way for a first down. So give me Dalton Kincaid at the end. Once the smoke clears, I think he's going to be a big reason if the Bills win this one that they do. So it's time, inevitably, for predictions. And give me Houston 24-21. I'm picking the Bills, I think. I don't think I have.
Wow.
I truthfully, as much, and again, I think they're 3-2 before they make another run through their schedule, right? I think that's just what happens. You have to expect to lose some. Like Baltimore, I picked the Bills to win in a close one. Baltimore game that flipped completely. Baltimore wasn't even favored by 3 points for a full home favor. They were 2.5. So then all of a sudden they just basically they took the Bills' face, put it on the side of the sidewalk, and just started stomping it nonstop. So what are you going to do there? In Houston, they're a good team too. Did the Sabres beat Jack Eichel every time he came to Buffalo, or they went to Vegas? No, Diggs is going to get his. It's gonna go back and forth. There's so much you can do. So I think the Texans win this one in a close by a field goal, 24-21. But so as much as I think that, I'm rooting against it.
Joe, honest to God, I'm being honest. I was thinking of picking the Texans all week. When those injuries hit, I was picking the Texans. And then I just kind of remembered that we have Josh Allen. And
you think he's going
Sean McDermott. And, this is going to look really stupid if they lose, because I would have been right. I'm pulling you here a little bit. Like, maybe it's not the most rational thinking.
The optimism.
But I got the Bills 31-27. I think the Bills offense, is going to. I keep saying I think. Great job, Dominic. Is going to go back. Is going to get back on track. I think they're going to get explosive plays. And again, Houston's a team that just shoots themselves in the foot a lot, and it hasn't really cost them, other than that Minnesota game. Like week 1, they didn't play a great game, beat Indianapolis by 2, but that's division. That was weird. Sunday Night Football against the Bears, that was a weird 19-13 game where it's like they dominated, but then the Bears had a chance to go down the field and win. Obviously, they got smacked by Minnesota. And then last week, they nearly lost to the Jags and probably should have. So I know that's a division game too, so that's a little strange, but I don't know. I think Houston's not quite as dominant of a team as I thought they were in the preseason. And I'm nervous about the injuries, but screw it. Like I've been saying that I think Cole Bishop and Mike Edwards should be playing. I know I've liked Rapp, but if I'm going to put my money where my mouth is there, I feel like Cole Bishop can play. Ed Oliver's a massive loss, but again, I think the interior of this offensive line is beatable. And I just think Josh Allen is Josh Allen. And I think this is the game where they may unleash him a little bit. I know he still has that hand injury, but I think this game means a little bit more, to the Bills than they're letting on. This is kind of you want to smack down the up and coming team that's trying to take your spot among the elites in the AFC, and that's why I got the Bills. Surprisingly, I don't know. I just have that belief now. I have the feeling in my bones. The Sabres are about to play an hour. Hopefully, get a win. You know,
hopefully, I'm looking at the odds of that game, so we're gonna see what happens. But I might throw some live parlays down. Who knows? But yeah, listen, picked against the Bills, but truthfully, again, every bone in my body is rooting against that result. So,
sure. Listen, I picked against them last week, but I didn't want my prediction to be true.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just, I think defensive injuries and the holes you have there are going to get the best of you at the end of the day. But like you said, and like I said, division games are all that matter by the end of the season. But that's going to do it, I think, for this edition. Other than, actually, you mentioned Josh Allen playing so well. He is the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. Congratulations to Josh Allen. Hats off to you, sir. Except I can't.
First time since the 2020 season, dog.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
With and without Diggs, he's won it. So that's pretty good.
I'm just surprised that Lamar didn't get it.
I mean, look at their start of the season, though. Oh, yeah, right. Because when Josh Allen plays really well, Lamar wins MVP. Yeah, you're totally right.
I don't even like those jokes, but I thought I would hit there with you.
Do you mean 2015 Tyrod Taylor? I forget who you're actually referencing there, but sorry. Derrick Henry's now the center of that offense. Who knows? We'll see. That's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast's betting on the Bills. We'll talk some fantasy coming up on Tuesday. We ran a little long with the Diggs drama, so we didn't want to talk your ear off for that long on a preview show. But Dom, how do we always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go